discovered the final combination and leaving the prototype to be rendered overnight. He'd awoken early the next morning, bleary-eyed, his mouth tasting like dried clar droppings, and his horns throbbing in response to the horrified look on his broodmate Margolin's face. He'd awoken early, he told Finnabar, his words falling over themselves as he tried to explain. He'd gone to check on the prototype, expecting it to still be hours away from completion in the nanovats, only to find the utter devastation of their lab. After months of painstaking investigation, it became clear that a tiny sea squirrel had swum in through an open purification grate and somehow, against all probability and the manufacturer's persistent denials of responsibility, it had made its way into the lab. The transformation of that tiny amount of life energy into mana had been enough, in turn, to level an entire 300 Bani building, all 4 floors, and had instead created a garden of life energy emitting geodes, the likes of which hadn't been found in millennia. It was enough to create 6 entire cores, for frack's sake. Now, here he was, at the end of the line, orbiting in a place where his science and exploration had brought him. Despite all he now desired, each step he'd taken had been full of logic. A small change here, a push there, and now this. It had taken 10 solar cycles and dozens upon dozens of prisoner sacrifices. But they'd done it, to his eternal shame. The intercom chimed, and he snuffled, wiping his crevices. Turning, he slowly walked across to the command chair and sank into it with a groan as he flicked the receiver on, the main screen shifting to reveal his clan leader, Trinian. The enormous Cynthian shifted in the support brace and nodded to Finnabar in respect. The same sadness he expressed reflected in the colors declared across his chest. Finnabar, second son of my third line, we are here. We know what you do and that you make this sacrifice for all of our people. As such, the burden is never yours alone. We share in it, and we weep with you. Trinian intoned as other screens flickered to life, displaying numerous members of his pod, and, lastly, his brood pair, coming to life on his personal screen. The monocrystal they shared across space pulsed with their collective love for him as he clutched it tight. Thank you all, Finnabar said quietly, clearing his throat before reaching out and gently caressing the raised nodules of the primary distortion engine controls. He slowly but firmly pressed the keys in turn, slid the dial, and felt the device query his embedded crystal to confirm his identity. Activated, the most valuable cargo that any Cynthian ship had ever carried was released into the ether above the small world below. Out of the 6 cores that had been formed by the sea squirrel's presence, the resulting information provided them with the information their technology had been lacking. Within a full orbital rotation, they had generated a total of 116 individual dungeon cores. As they matured, the cores were dispatched into orbit, the tiny forms of their fairies each encased in a protective crystal attached to every delivery device. The telemetry that had populated on the 5th screen since loading indicated that the fairies and their bonded cores were still in perfect hibernation, both halves of the infant dungeons attached to each other and ready to play their part. Trinian nodded in respect and sympathy as Finnabar reached for the final control. He touched it gently, feeling it shiver in response, all too aware of the terrible changes its activation would bring. Then, slowly, after looking around the control room and at all his clan, feeling their love and affirmation, he depressed it with a loud click. The web of satellites responded as one, linking their thrusters and taking aim. A shuddering passed through them as they warped space, linking the small blue and green orb to the subspace rift and allowing the power of mana to flow through, altering reality. The world below might never know why they had been chosen for this
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.